Hey guys, it is my 2 years and 8 months on T. And I didn't think I would have time this week to do a video update, and I actually do. Only because my headache has made me stop my on the go. So, real quick, I'm just going to continue to update. I'm getting thicker hair. It's growing on my fingers now. Little bushes. My arms are filling in from side to side. I'm getting more hair on my chest, more hair on my back. My legs have really thickened up. The bald spots on the hips are now getting hairy. My stomach is hairier. And my eyebrows are getting bushier. You just can't tell because it's light. My stash is getting thicker slowly. It's got some red in it. This is all dark with some gray in it, but the stash has red in it. So we'll see how that goes. No one has talked about it or mentioned it in my family. It's weird because we just moved my niece and no one made any comments. So I don't know. Maybe it's subtle. Maybe they just, I don't know. So anyway, I've got a couple questions for you guys to think about, maybe doing a video reply or just writing it in the comments if you feel so, to give me what you think on it. The first one is, I just went blank. Crap. Well, another subject is how do you handle when your family still mispronouns you or calls you by your birth name, and it's, let's say with me, it's almost 3 years into transitioning. I came up with I thought a great plan, because when in conversation with my family, they will bring up like past things that's happened, and they're joking around and stuff, but they always get stuck when they go to talk about something in the past, and they say, oh, you know, when you were so and so, da 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 da. And it just bothered me, you know, how can we change that so that they can just go into talking about memories without hesitation? So I asked my sister and my nieces, I said, when you guys are talking about me prior to transition, I said, use my name as it is now. Don't bring up the birth name, and you don't have to say when you were. Just say when Uncle Jay was so and so, or when Uncle Jay did this. Do you remember this? You know, and my sister's been doing that when we've been together out at the stables, and I find that it has been easier and easier for them to relate me even as I am now in my past. One of my nieces told me it was a lot easier for her, and so I asked my mom to do the same thing. And I think what that does is that it breaks it causes their mentality, their memories, to just do a transition themselves into relating that person to who I am today. Yes, I once was that person. That's not even a discussion. But I've noticed that it's been easier for them, and they don't mispronoun me once in a while. But it's just, they told me it was easier for them. So, and it doesn't give that like wretched feeling when go to talk about something, they like look at you like, but when you were, you know, and you never know who's going to be around when you're talking about old family tales, and you don't want to make it awkward, you know, you don't want to have them hesitate like that. So I found that in conversation with them, since I've had that talk, that it's just so much easier for them. It's just, it's a transition that it's like a Cadillac. It just goes smooth. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Another thing was, how does your friends and family really see you? And what I mean by this is, if one of my family members was transitioning, I would respect them and go along with the pronouns and the name and stuff, and do my best to, call them by the pronoun and the correct name. But how would I really see that person? Do I still see that person as my sister? Or do I now see that person as, that's my brother, that's my brother, that's my brother? So I asked my mom when she mispronounced me the other day. I said, Mom, you don't have to answer this, but I want you to think about something. When you look at me now, do you see me as a man? Do you see me as a male? Or do you just see me in your mind still as my previous self? I said, I think that's what really causes people to mispronounce me, is because they still see me as the old person, but they're trying to accommodate what I'm asking them to do now. And I said, just think about that and try to start looking at me as your son, as the boy that was supposed to be born a boy that wasn't. Look at me as that person. I said, but I don't know, sometimes I think you guys just see me as the old self, but you're trying to accommodate me with my new self. And she didn't say anything, and I told my sister what I had talked to my mom about, and she didn't say anything either. So it gives them something to think about. I know it would be hard for me, and it would be hard for me if my brother came and said, I want to be a female. I am a female, I'm going to transition. And I think over through the years, it's transitioning. We're not just transitioning physically and emotionally, but we're transitioning into maturity, into our manhood. We're still not a man, and I don't think people see us really as a man, but I think we're getting there through this transition, and that's what we're doing with them and our families and friends. But it's something to really think about, just kind of think about how your family is, and how do they see you? And I know my brother-in-law, he treats me male. He basically has always kind of treated me male, but now that comadre is there's a big difference. So those were a couple things I was thinking about. And the other thing is, and I think I'm getting ready to run out of time here, is I'm going to have to split the film again, is stealth. How do you handle your transition in your life? Do you want to be stealth, or are you going to always be the trans man? So I answered this question, I think, on It's a Man's World, and I still feel the same way today as I did then. And there's many things in our transition that in the beginning we felt so adamant about, but as time goes on, those same feelings start changing. They start shifting. For me, a lot of things have shifted in my way of thinking. So, stealth or not? Well, of course, with people that I'm not acquainted with, I will be stealth. Yeah, so it turned off. But I still feel the same way if Tony and I bring new people into our life, into our circle, and we start hanging out with them. I would want to tell them, only because they're going to know other friends of ours. They're going to probably meet family members at some time of ours, and there's going to be that awkward time where someone mispronouns you, or talks about a memory and hesitates, like I talked about. There's going to be pictures, or there's going to be even me giving myself up, and so I want to give them the opportunity to either judge me and walk away, or not judge me and decide that our friendship was more value than what's in my pants. So yeah, to the average person, I'm stealth. there's just, if you moved across the states and you never had any contact with your family or your ex-friends, that's a whole different story. But there's always going to be a photo album, or there's always going to be a memory, or there's just something that's always might come up and might just be a little awkward. So that was another thing that I was thinking about, is how does your family see you, and are you going to be stealth or not? So real quick, last video I had mentioned I was doing a 3-hour drive to see a second therapist, and I had done that video 3 times, and in the 2 other ones I had talked about lower surgery. So real quick, I'm going to talk about what's going on with me with lower surgery. Here's another thing that has changed my way of thinking. You put on a defense, a wall, to block you from really thinking about something that you feel is out of your reach. And lower surgery was one of those things. My wife and I knew that we couldn't afford, the up to $100,000 if I went phalloplasty, and $30,000 if it's that with the metoid. So that was just something I had to put out of my mind so that I wouldn't get depressed or give it all this energy when I need energy in other areas. Now that my insurance covers all the surgeries, yes, my wife and I have talked about it. She says you definitely will be happier and feel more complete. And so she has given the green light on her part about it. My dilemma is phalloplasty or metoidplasty with urethra lengthening. And I know, number one, my main thing is I want to get rid of the female genitalia. Okay? It doesn't belong on me. There's times it even disgusts me. Let's just put it that way. I sweat. I don't know if any of you guys have the same issue, but I sweat even in air conditioning. And I just don't like the feeling every time I have to go sit on the pot, or whatever. So my main concerns are phalloplasty. How am I going to heal with given a thyroid autoimmune disease and I heal slow? Am I even a candidate for the metoid with the urethra lengthening? So those are things that are going to be answered by the surgeon, or what he thinks. But the process is, I've already seen the first therapist, and we sign a contract basically saying we're going to do everything that we are told to do because Kaiser's putting out so much money on us, and this is definitely what we want to do. The second the second therapist also is going to do the second letter, which is required. I don't know if that's a Kaiser requirement. She said it's a new law, but I don't think you have to have 2 therapist letters to have lower surgery. So whether it's Kaiser or not, they're paying the bill. You do it. So I'm going to the second therapist, who is going to actually be the case manager over the behavioral part of this process. And he's 2 hours, almost 3 hours down the road. And I was talking about I go for a post-op on one of my surgeries that morning, and then I'll be on the road to see him in the afternoon. So I will talk more about the lower surgery and where I'm leaning. I've done a lot of research already. I'm going to start entering into some forums and talking to some guys about who's already gone through the process, what they've experienced, what they haven't experienced. Overall, are they satisfied? What would they do different? Every person is different, and I know the way I look at someone, I'm going to take from that something different than another person will. So I'm just going to try to cross my T's and dot my I's before I go into this other this other meeting with a therapist, and I'm not worried about getting letters. I mean, that's not the issue. I'm just mainly concerned about what is best for my body and what is best for my mentality. And so that's where I am on lower surgery. So I hope all of you guys are taking it one day at a time. And guys, don't put any energy into things you can't control. And take each day as it is in the moment. All right? Make your journey always as simple as possible. Take care, guys. Bye.